Before you watch this video, I warn you, the majority of the audience, possibly even clicking in on this video, longs for the magic to not be broken. So you can assume that this is a spoiler to everything. And if you want that magic intact that's happening over on the Matthias channel, click away and pretend you never saw this. But for the small minority of people that want these answers, here they are. What's going on, guys? I know this video is most likely a giant surprise to a lot of you, and like I said in the post that I'm about to show you and read to you, this wasn't ever the plan to share it to you like this. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sure it was ever the plan to share this with you, but I didn't quite expect what would happen. So before you comment, I know it's a big ask, because I know this is probably gonna be a really long video, but before you comment, see if you can watch the whole thing and look at other comments to see if I respond to them. Look at this post because I've responded to hundreds of comments in this post that I'm about to show you. And this video probably most likely has the answers that you're looking for. So let me kind of preface this video then. So I know this is another channel, and I know a lot of you are like, why don't you just put it on that main channel? And there's a lot of reasons I'll get into, but a lot of the viewers after I made this post that I'm going to show you asked that I not break that fourth wall again and raise that curtain, break the magic, and I totally get it, and I don't want to do that. So here, this channel will be dedicated to Behind 863. Whether we upload once a quarter, once a month, I don't know. There's no promised uploads because I don't want to break the magic, and I'm not sure how to communicate to you through this weird kind of story that we've created without breaking that magic. So I'm sure a lot of you are really curious about why I'm coming out with this now. Why am I all of a sudden talking about 863 being fiction now? The reality of the situation is I didn't really expect it to get this far. I didn't really expect anything that unfolded to happen. And some people may argue that I should have expected that. I didn't. And that doesn't really change anything. But 2 weeks ago, this fictional story that was relatively harmless in nature, I felt at the time, bled into the real world, and I realized that I had done this all wrong, which started opening up other perspectives that I didn't have. And now I do, thanks to a lot of patient viewers. So let me get into reading this post. Apologies. This wasn't ever the plan. Please, again, this is to you guys as well. Ask questions down in the comments below after you read this whole thing, and I'll do my best to answer them. Non-story based questions more about why this is all happening now. Hello all. With all that's going on the Reddit, people crossing boundaries and blurring lines while investigating, something has been on my heart. Though it's a bit complicated, so bear with me. For a while, a lot of this story's fun was people's theories, investigations, discoveries inside the videos that spurred more of the same. It was a blast to be a part of the community, and I felt like we were all on the same page. Part of the fun was speculating whether everything was written, reality, and what it all meant. Then I noticed a tiny minority of people crossing those boundaries and feeling really worried for the team. So we started doing last time, this time, next time. We started calling it a series. I also put a disclaimer to quell those issues. And at that time, I don't even think I really saw people crossing boundaries. It was more of within the last 2 weeks that I saw that. The following content may not be suitable for all audiences. This was the disclaimer that I put. Viewer discretion is advised. That didn't sit right with me after one video, so I changed content to story to better communicate the story that we're creating. At this time, I still didn't really believe that people didn't assume it was fiction. I thought the fact that we were an entertainment studio, that we edited, added custom music, posted fan art, laughed and joked, clearly staged thumbnails that weren't screenshots of the actual content within the video, made other content that was untouched by this fictional world, made comedy and thriller trailers, and the fact that I've made tons of fiction online on this channel even, I thought that was evident enough that this was fiction. I was wrong about that because my words inside the story didn't match what you saw going into the story. It's important to note though that anytime you see an edit on anything, you're watching an illusion. It doesn't matter who it is, your favorite creator is creating an illusion. And that doesn't mean you can't trust them per se, but it does mean that you don't have the full picture, and you never can, I suppose, through a screen. And that's pretty normal. Then, not surprisingly, the unexpected happened. We hit a tipping point. When we revealed Cyphus's first name recently, there was a small number of viewers that took things too far, way too far, and crossed a lot of boundaries in their investigations. Like I said, I never expected people to violate other people. It was always a surprise to me when people take things too far, and honestly, I felt foolish that I didn't expect it and set better boundaries up to prevent this, because I was just surprised because I didn't really realize that people would take it that far. I didn't realize that people would go comment on other people that didn't even have the same name, companies that were clearly different names, Syntech with an H. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? It just didn't make any sense. I structured it the best I possibly could so that didn't happen, but I didn't set it up correctly, and that's 100% my fault. Cyphus was a name I thought I made up from scratch. I should have done a Google search, I suppose, but starting with the next video, the disclaimer will read, the following story was created for entertainment purposes only and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. This story and its characters are fictitious. Certain long-standing institutions, agencies, and public offices are mentioned, but the characters involved are wholly imaginary. Do not contact, engage with, or approach anyone or any company not directly linked in the description or confirmed to be a part of the story. So what that means, unless in the story, we people in the story, in those videos on the Matthias channel, unless we reference something, it should not be dragged into the story from overzealous viewers. I'm sure this leaves you with more questions than answers, so how did it get this far? Because it didn't start out fake. It started out as an escape room type video, a story to bring Hi-Fi staff into imagination and fun. For the first couple of years, it was literally only me that knew it was just a fun story. I was a game master, if you will. All the reactions from the staff up to the stalker stuff were real, genuine reactions. A lot of investigations were genuine on camera, guided by me. I hope you can see how fake isn't an accurate word for what was happening, or even still an accurate word for what happened. Scripted really isn't either, possibly staged. But a lot of what happened wasn't staged. When we acquired that new unit, a lab did previously occupy that space, and they did even offer up some of their lab equipment. For instance, that one bench 100% belonged to the previous lab. Even the emotions we go through on camera are 100% real. That's something surprising that I learned going through this whole experience, that stuff you can't fake. You have to kind of go through it. Although, admittedly, we benefit from psychological distancing after the camera stopped rolling, a benefit I discovered the viewers do not have. I will address this later in the post. I honestly didn't know how to precisely address this issue while being accurate and not breaking the magic of the story that people desired, which I see now is a poor excuse. That is until recently, very patient viewers educated me on the term ARG, alternate reality game. I suppose that's what it is, an alternate reality game, one that evolves and changes based on the audience's discoveries. The best way to describe this isn't fake, scripted, written, staged, improv, it's guided alternate reality. It is unfiction. A viewer just enlightened me to this word. Its definition is very fitting. Unfiction is an umbrella term for a fiction which insists that it is real, existing in the same world that you or I exist in. You can go look that up. Unfiction exists on other platforms, maybe even on this one, I'm not sure. The way to officially describe this is fiction, not fake, because it's not fake. There are a lot of aspects to this that are very much real. But these viewers also educated me on a perspective I didn't have. They helped me see the potential damage of not being more forthright would do, regardless of my intentions. It might push a distrust in law enforcement, inspiration for risky behavior, or like we've seen, a gross violation of privacy during these viewer investigations. As far as I know, the only thing that's happened so far is boundary crossing, is people bringing those into the story that didn't belong, such as calling some businesses, commenting on some people's YouTube content, maybe messaging people. That needs to stop now. And this is the main reason why I'm coming out with this right now. Beyond all of the amazing viewers that helped me see how I was getting this wrong, an ARG or alternate reality game should have clear boundaries from the start, and that was my fault, and I totally messed up. A lot of people say that I should have been upfront from the start, but it's not that simple. If I was upfront from the start, this would this wouldn't have even existed. It would have been a single video, not a complex twisting narrative. Being upfront would have made it impossible to get genuine reactions from the staff, and it would have neutered the series early. I don't know of a lot of fiction that works on YouTube. Actually, I don't know of any fiction that's worked on YouTube. I'm sure some has, I don't know of it, and maybe that's my short-sightedness. Regardless, I definitely should have made a more clear boundary before elements of danger started being incorporated into the story, and that's a mistake I'll definitely own. When I brought in the staff, I should have brought you guys in. I still think, even with clear fiction disclaimers, people will have problems with the series well into the future. And I don't want to say this as an excuse by any stretch of the imagination. I just want to clarify my perspective so you can see how my flawed perspective existed. And not that I'm claiming I'm right, but more just so you can understand where I was coming from. I know there would be a small fraction of people that think I had ill intent all along, as if I wanted to deceive to get views. All I have is my word and my actions, and I suppose you can draw that story from them, but I ask you to look closer. I've been on this platform for years, and I have done projects and channels that got far more views with a lot less work. Look closer at the vision statement we developed in July of last year. If I can honestly show you that right now on highfivestudios.com, this has been here since July. We tell stories that matter to us, and then if you go up here to our vision, it's very similar. High Five Studios creates worlds so immersive that people can become lost in them through their compelling stories and shared creations. This vision statement and mission statement I do want to update. I need to communicate to my staff. But I think what I've learned, before I go back to my post, I think what I've learned through this story that we've created together, this vision statement doesn't even get it right what I'm really going for. The correct vision statement, I think, is High Five Studios creates worlds so immersive that people find themselves in them through their compelling stories and shared creations. Because my goal as a creator here on this platform, my singular goal making content for the foreseeable future is through my belief of how powerful story can be and how amazing story can be. And from when I was a kid, story brought me through some of the most difficult times. I believe that we're storytellers by heart. And I think that what I know of story is that story can get you through some of the most difficult times, and that you don't lose yourself in story. While some people, I think, can take it too far, as we've seen, I think most people find themselves in stories. I think they find a mirror of their own life, and it validates their existence to a point which they build the courage to step out of that fantasy land with that new courage and that new learning and that new wisdom to actually approach their real life. And that's what I believe the power of story is. I believe the power of story is transformation. And I believe the power of story allows us to cope often and learn what we need to learn so that we can take those learnings out into the real world. And that's another alteration I want to make to the mission. Again, I need to talk to the staff. This is the mission as it sits right now, but I think a more accurate way to describe this is we tell stories that change hearts. That's where I went wrong with this, I think. This whole thing has really helped me see that this mission statement right here is broken. It needs to be we tell stories that change hearts, because this right here, the story that we've created on the platform was for us. I didn't see how it would possibly negatively affect you guys. And so a better mission statement, I think, would be we tell stories that change hearts so that we can't get off track again. We don't start telling stories that are just for us. We tell stories that connect us to you and change both of our hearts. And I realize now how this story, how what we've created wasn't on that mission at all. It broke hearts. And I've seen it in the comments of this post. It felt like betrayal. It felt like trust broken. And I totally get that. I totally understand that. And that's, I think, me not crafting a proper mission statement for my company. And I'll own that. I think it's important to realize, though, that like lies, deception, deceit, manipulation, these are not correct words by any stretch of the imagination. Even though they may feel accurate, they're not. Manipulation has a goal. What's my goal? To get views? It's easier to get views on Dope or Nope, and we're uploading just once a week. I mean, like, if I was trying to get views, I'd be playing trendy video games. Like, I think that's never been my goal. My goal has been to be a storyteller. As long as I've known, I started writing books never released when I was like 11 years old, when story was what I felt like all I had. Manipulation may be a strong word, but there's a huge difference between manipulation and inspiration, and it's the alignment. Manipulation would be deceiving you to get what I want. Inspiration pushes us both towards this common goal. But the issue was, it was an implicit common goal, I think. Entertainment and connection. There's not a person that clicked on the videos that didn't first click because they wanted their desire for entertainment and mystery satisfied. This is not a bad thing, but let's call it like it is. Before I started doing this series, no one clicked, and that's totally okay. I remember making a video titled 5 books that changed my life, and it got under 4,000 views in the first hour. And many of you may be those first viewers that clicked on my videos no matter what and had my trust, and I'm sorry. The majority of people, that's not how it is. People want entertainment, and that's my job. That's our relationship. Those low amounts of views before I started doing this series again really helped communicate that I wasn't giving what I should into this relationship. I wasn't providing you guys what you guys wanted, which was mystery and fantasy and a new world to exist in and connect through. You didn't want me, you wanted story and community. Within the first hour, almost 150,000 people click in the first hour because we're delivering that. But my mistake was thinking that our relationship was implicit when I should have made it explicit. I should have brought you in. I shouldn't have assumed that you had picked up those hints, whether blatant or subtle, and it doesn't really matter, and that's my mistake. I think it's also really important to know that those of you who feel like your trust in me is broken, I'm okay with that. And I'm not okay with hurting you. I'm okay not being trusted. I'm okay being an entertainer. I'm not anyone's father. I'm not anyone's leader. And I know I'm a person that a lot of people look up to, but I'm not sure. I suppose. I'm not sure I'm capable of delivering what you need from me when I'm wearing that hat. What I want to do, what I aim to do, is to make compelling worlds that help change your heart. Let me go back to the post now. There would be another group of people hurt by this, left feeling foolish for believing this story. Honestly, until last week, I didn't understand this viewpoint or why it would hurt someone. I didn't realize this would be the reaction until recently. This exact same thing happened to me. I read a book I thought was something, but turned out to be something else. Though I don't believe deceit was the intent, I felt stupid betrayed when I realized what I wanted to be true wasn't true at all. Then I feel like it was a wake-up moment for me. I'm doing this exact same thing to my viewers who put their trust in me. I feel like such an idiot for not seeing how the reveal would make people feel like this. I thought the reveal would bring a no way moment, but I was so wrong. Vulnerable people who trusted me, people who enjoyed the content, would be left feeling stupid. For that, I'm deeply sorry. It was not the intent of the story. Also, having believed this doesn't make you foolish, stupid, dense, gullible, or anything else for that matter. It makes you vulnerable. It means you choose to trust first. It means you want the world to be a magical place, and these are not bad things. However, I think that my heart didn't believe that that existed, and that tells me that I can learn a lot from you about being more vulnerable and what it means to extend yourself and believe something, and I really appreciate you for that lesson. To bring that point home that I wanted a community of vulnerable creatives, but I wasn't vulnerable myself. A viewer, Nidhogg, in the comments below stated something that I think I deeply missed. Now we can stop arguing whether it's real or staged, and we know the boundaries. We can start pretending it's real, and we know when to stop playing. Yay for role playing. Then there's a last group of people, the majority, and the viewpoint I saw through this entire thing, they didn't want the spell broken. Most people found this story fun because they didn't know if it was real or fiction. It's what makes it magical and mysterious, the actual not knowing. I'm sorry for breaking this spell and ruining the fun, and I know that most of you will wish you never watched this video. I feel it was necessary at this point to avoid harm of any real individual. Please go on pretending if it's real. It will not hurt anyone, and I'm right there pretending beside you. Another viewer, Jenna, expressed this to me. Truthfully, I felt like kind of an a-hole for enjoying something that could be endangering their lives, but now people can just enjoy the story for what it is, a story. This was another perspective that I didn't have. They went on. It was never the content that was the problem, because the story has captured so many fans. The content itself was great. It was more so the community that was the problem because of that uncertainty. Because we didn't know for sure, some bad behaviors were able to slip through the cracks. But now that we're all on the same page, no matter what you believed before, we can all move forward as fans enjoying a fantastic story. To be honest, the plan was to never raise the curtain. But at that time, I didn't really take into consideration the emotional investment of the audience or how this reality might affect our reality. And that's why I'm speaking on this now. I'm sure there's one last question. Why did you keep insisting that it's real even when putting on a disclaimer? And this is because of all of the oversights I mentioned above, but also it is story breaking to do anything other than that. And I know that's odd, but let me explain. There's a natural discrepancy between what we say inside the story and outside the story. The disclaimer is outside of the story we're creating. The content is inside the story. Communicating its guided content needs to happen outside of the story, not inside it, as it would completely break the story. And I don't believe that's what a large majority of the viewers even want. That being said, on camera, we will stop addressing the validity of the story as real or guided entirely. I think this is where a lot of the confusion stems from as well. This is something I didn't realize until even after writing this post. So what I mean by that is inside the story, we'll stop even addressing whether it's real or fake. And that's something that I think we as a community need to do as well on the official subreddit and on the official channel. I'll make another subreddit to discuss things outside the story, like how do you guys do it, and like this channel, for instance. But those spaces should be a place for the majority of people that want to pretend, that want to have fun. I hope you guys see that I'm a man focused on transformation and admitting when he's made a mistake and doing what I can to correct it and learn from it. First and foremost, I want to apologize to my staff for trusting me and putting you through this potential backlash. Everyone on the team has done such incredible work and made some genuinely great magic. I would hate to have my poor choices as a leader reflect poorly on their fantastic work. Secondly, I'd like to apologize to all of you. I know this won't sit well with a lot of you, I understand that, but I hope you can understand where I was coming from and how I'd like to grow from this. Moving forward, I'd like to continue telling the story that my staff has spent such a great deal of time, effort, and energy in. I don't believe making a video on this is the right move historically, because people don't believe creators read the comments and devolves into chaos quickly. But here I am making a video because in the thousands of comments on this Reddit post, you guys helped me see a new perspective. And so that's why I'm here now. I do worry that it's going to break the story for a lot of people, but I think a lot of you guys are right that this needs to be said. Like I said, I will update the disclaimer to be far more direct, and we will stop arguing on the validity of the story inside the story. I also removed the debunking video we uploaded last year, which was a regret. That video, I think, spurred the most confusion, and I do regret making that. It's definitely a strange situation to be in, and I'm open to your feedback. If you continue with us, please stick to the story. Whatever is in the videos or video description is fair game to theorize, investigate, and to play with. Please do not contact similar people, businesses, or companies that do not have a direct link to the story. This is a new Reddit rule that will be enforced. Please be civil and patient with each other during this adjustment. I appreciate all of you. We will continue telling the story we set out to tell with the help of those who choose to stay and help tell it. I hope you stay and experience the fun and imagination of what I always intended it to be, a truly immersive story that brings you into a magical world with a fantastic community. I sincerely apologize and take full responsibility for everything else it ended up being. I think a last point that I want to say. I still desire to make this magical world for the both of us to exist in and connect through this power of story. The aligned goal that we have within that story is what my broader vision of my company even is right now. It's shared creations. And if I can explain that really quick, I believe influence goes both ways. And I don't think you guys realize how much you have influenced this story. We haven't just wrote this story and then released it. Every time you guys find something or anything, it changes the story entirely. And it's been such an amazing process. I think inspiration is the correct word. The series has inspired so many community members to create, connect, imagine in ways they haven't, thanks to my amazing team. And the time you spent making theories, fan art, memes, comments, this was not wasted time. You were creating this world with me. I should have let you in on that. My mission is to tell stories that change hearts and not to break them. And I was off mission. The last thing I want to share with you is just my broader vision for my company, for the future of my life, of like what I want this company to be. I want my company to be about creating universes and worlds. And we create this seed of a universe, this seed of a world inside a story, and you guys are the ones that fill it, that water it, that help see it grow. And that's one of the things that I've just always felt like most of these big companies always missed. They didn't realize that the magic of story isn't in how well the story's told per se, it's in how much influence everyone has on the story. And that's one of the areas that I think Harry Potter gets it wrong, Star Wars gets it wrong, Marvel even gets it wrong, is there's not enough influence from the community. And that's one of the things I aim to fix in my life. I aim to build a better place, community, world, universe that allows this shared fiction, that allows this shared world creation. And it's been my dream ever since many of you know that I've been writing a book. It's been my dream. I'll pitch it to you really quick. But just so you know, when I'm writing my book, my plan isn't to just write this book. I have a series. I have like a 6-book series I want to write, but my plan is to open it up for you guys to create things and to monetize things yourselves. And this doesn't mean companies get to monetize, but this does mean individuals get to monetize. And whatever that means, what I'm trying to say is that, like, if I make a symbol in my book and one of you have an idea to create, let's say, a ring like this, right now, law states you cannot do that because of intellectual property rights, which are totally okay and totally fine, and I don't argue with those. But I want to let you use my intellectual property so you can monetize it yourself. So if you make a ring inside the story, you can sell it on Etsy and gain full profit. I love that. I love the fact that story doesn't belong to just the storytellers. I love that it also belongs to the listeners, the readers, the watchers. And there are limits to that because, like, you know, that might mean some huge production company might start trying to sell certain things, and there will be limits to that. You know, if you create a business entirely on my intellectual property and then it starts evolving and big, we'll have a conversation where we find the balance of both things. But I think for the most part, I just want to see individuals able to be inspired and create things and reap the rewards of what they've created in this shared story, in this shared universe, in this shared world. So that's just a brief glimpse, I guess, into my bigger vision of how I believe stories should be run. But I'm sure we'll get into that later. So leave your questions down below, and I hope you guys understand. Thank you.